At just 32 years old, Maya Thompson had already carved a name for herself as one of the most talented marketing strategists in her field. Known for her sharp intellect, relentless determination, and a warmth that drew people in, Maya's rise in the corporate world wasn't without its share of challenges. She was ambitious, always striving for excellence, and her colleagues often marveled at her ability to transform mundane projects into groundbreaking campaigns. Maya worked at Silver Edge Solutions, a mid-sized marketing agency that prided itself on innovation, or so it claimed. The office was a sleek, modern space filled with brainstorming boards, glass-walled meeting rooms, and a vibrant team of professionals hustling to impress clients. Maya thrived here, or at least she tried to. She handled high-stakes campaigns for prestigious clients and routinely delivered results that exceeded expectations. But beneath the polished exterior of the company, there lingered an unspoken reality. Maya often felt the weight of being the only black woman on the leadership track. Her efforts were undeniable, her contributions evident, yet recognition seemed to evade her more often than not. She couldn't help but notice how her ideas, when voiced in meetings, were met with polite nods but rarely acted upon, only to be repackaged later by others who received the credit. Maya's direct supervisor, Richard Graham, was a seasoned executive known for his sharp tongue and traditional mindset. Richard had an air of authority that bordered on intimidation, but it was his subtle biases that made life most difficult for Maya. He would often interrupt her during presentations, dismissing her insights as too ambitious or not practical enough, only to embrace the same ideas when presented by her white colleagues. There was one meeting in particular that lingered in her mind. Maya had spent weeks crafting a detailed pitch for a major client. She stayed late nights in the office, carefully weaving together market data, creative ideas, and a clear strategy. But when the time came to present her work, Richard cut her off halfway through, claiming, "Let's keep it simple. Maya tends to overcomplicate things." The words stung. She sat quietly as another colleague picked up where she had left off, parroting her ideas, but earning praise instead. It wasn't just the lack of acknowledgement. It was the deliberate erasure that gnawed at her confidence. In the break room, the casual conversations among colleagues sometimes carried undertones she couldn't ignore. Comments about diversity hires or backhanded compliments like, "You're so articulate," reminded her that she wasn't just fighting for her career, she was fighting to belong. Despite it all, Maya maintained her composure. She had learned to pick her battles, to smile when she wanted to shout, and to focus on her goals rather than the hurdles. But each slight, each dismissal, planted a seed of doubt in her mind. Outside of work, Maya found solace in her tight-knit circle of friends and her supportive mother, who often reminded her, "You are more than their opinions. Don't let them dim your light." These words became her mantra, a shield she carried with her into the boardroom every day. Yet deep down, Maya knew that something had to change. She couldn't keep pushing herself to excel in an environment that refused to see her worth. The fire inside her was still there, burning, waiting for the right moment to blaze. The morning sunlight poured into the sleek conference room as Maya sat at the end of the long, polished table, clutching her laptop. The hum of chatter filled the room while her colleagues shuffled through their notes. It was the presentation day for a high-stakes campaign, a deal that could bring millions to the company. Maya had spent weeks perfecting the strategy, tailoring every detail to the client's needs. She was ready, confident that this project would finally prove her worth to Richard Graham and the rest of the team as the meeting commenced. Richard leaned back in his chair, twirling a pen between his fingers, his sharp eyes scanning the room. "All right, Maya, the floor is yours," he said, his tone as indifferent as ever. Maya stood, her heart pounding but her voice steady, and began to present. She walked the room through her vision, weaving data, creativity, and strategy into a compelling narrative. The client representatives nodded along, visibly impressed. But as she reached the midpoint of her pitch, Richard interrupted her, his voice slicing through the air. "Maya, this is all very theoretical," he said, his condescending tone turning heads. "We need practical solutions, not pie-in-the-sky ideas." Maya froze for a moment, startled. She glanced at the client representatives, who seemed confused by Richard's abrupt critique. "I assure you, Richard, the data supports these recommendations. The strategy aligns perfectly with the client's goals." "Enough!" Richard snapped, waving her off. "We don't need a lecture." The room fell silent. Maya could feel the weight of her colleagues' stares, a mix of pity and discomfort. Her throat tightened, but she forced herself to remain composed. "I'd be happy to clarify any concerns after the meeting," she managed to say, her voice steady despite the humiliation. But Richard wasn't done. He leaned forward, his gaze cold. "Frankly, Maya, I expected better. Maybe this isn't the right fit for you after all." The words hung in the air, sharp and final. Maya's stomach dropped as she realized what was happening. This wasn't just criticism, it was a public dismissal. Richard turned to the room. "Let's move on. Andrew, why don't you take over?" Maya sat down, her hands trembling. She could barely register the rest of the meeting as Andrew rehashed her ideas, earning approving nods from Richard. By the time the meeting ended, she felt like a ghost, invisible and unheard. The next day, Maya was called into Richard's office. The formalities were brief. "We're letting you go," he said, sliding a termination letter across the desk. "It's just not working out." Maya wanted to fight back, to demand an explanation, but she knew it was futile. The decision had been made. She walked out of the office carrying a box of her belongings, her head held high despite the lump in her throat at home. The reality sank in. Maya sat on her couch, staring at the termination letter in her hands. The words blurred as tears welled in her eyes. She thought about her bills, her rent, and the career she had worked so hard to build. How could this happen? She had done everything right, gone above and beyond in her work, ignored the microaggressions, and kept her head down. Yet it wasn't enough. The emotional fallout was overwhelming. Maya felt betrayed by the company she had given so much to. She avoided her friends' calls, too ashamed to admit what had happened. Even her mother's comforting words couldn't ease the ache in her chest. Nights were the hardest. Alone in the dark, her mind replayed the firing scene, each word from Richard cutting deeper. The financial strain quickly became apparent. Without a steady paycheck, Maya struggled to make ends meet. She canceled her gym membership, stopped dining out, and avoided unnecessary expenses. Still, the bills piled up. She applied for jobs relentlessly, but the rejections were relentless. Each "we've decided to move forward with another candidate" email chipped away at her confidence. Maya began to doubt herself. Maybe Richard was right. Maybe she wasn't good enough. The thought lingered like a shadow, sapping her motivation. Her laptop sat untouched for days as she wallowed in self-doubt. But Maya wasn't one to stay down for long. One evening, as she sorted through her old notes, she stumbled upon a quote she had jotted down years ago. "They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds." The words stirred something deep within her, a flicker of the fire she thought had been extinguished. Slowly, Maya began to rebuild herself. She reached out to a mentor who had always believed in her. They reminded her of her worth, encouraging her to see this setback as an opportunity. She started attending networking events, reconnecting with old colleagues, and exploring new ideas. One night, as she sketched out potential business plans on her kitchen table, an idea took shape, an idea that could change everything. What if she started her own firm, a place where people like her wouldn't just be tolerated, but celebrated? A place where diversity wasn't just a buzzword, but a core value. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt hopeful. The journey ahead would be daunting, but she was ready. She wasn't just going to survive, she was going to thrive. And this time, she would do it on her terms. The idea of starting her own company had been a flicker in Maya's mind for years, but it wasn't until her life hit rock bottom that it began to feel like a real possibility. One evening, while scrolling through her emails, she noticed a message from an old colleague, Lisa Monroe, a former marketing executive she had worked with on a major project. Lisa's email was simple but heartfelt. "Maya, I heard what happened. I know how unfair it was, but please don't let them define your worth. You're one of the best strategists I've ever worked with. If you ever need help or just someone to talk to, I'm here." Maya stared at the screen, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and sadness. She hadn't spoken to Lisa in over a year, but the message felt like a lifeline. A few days later, they met for coffee at a small cafe downtown. Lisa, always perceptive, could see the weariness in Maya's eyes. "Look," she said, leaning forward, "you've spent years building someone else's empire. Why not build your own?" Maya hesitated. "It's not that simple, Lisa. Starting a company requires money, connections, and I don't even know where to begin." Lisa smiled knowingly. "You've got more than you think. Remember the Williams campaign? That client couldn't stop raving about you. Why not reach out? People respect you, Maya. They'll want to work with you." For the first time in weeks, Maya felt a glimmer of possibility. Lisa's words echoed in her mind as she walked home that evening. She had spent years proving her worth to people who never saw it. Maybe it was time to prove it to herself. The next morning, Maya began to put her plan into motion. She opened her laptop and created a list of priorities: securing funding, finding clients, and establishing her brand. She named her company Elevate Marketing Solutions, a reflection of her desire to uplift not just her clients, but also the people who worked with her. Her first step was reaching out to potential investors. Maya pooled her personal savings, but knew it wouldn't be enough to cover startup costs. She pitched her vision to former clients, colleagues, and even local business groups, emphasizing her commitment to diversity and innovation. The responses were mixed. Some investors admired her passion, but were hesitant to back a new venture. Others dismissed her outright, questioning her ability to compete with established firms. But Maya refused to be discouraged. For every rejection, she refined her pitch, learning to anticipate and address concerns. Eventually, she secured funding from a small group of investors who believed in her vision. With their support, Maya rented a modest office space in the heart of the city, a far cry from the sleek corporate tower of her old job, but it was hers. Her next challenge was assembling a team. Maya reached out to professionals she admired, prioritizing diversity and inclusivity in her hiring process. Her first hires included Jordan, a brilliant graphic designer who had struggled to find opportunities due to their non-binary identity, and Amara, a single mother and digital marketing specialist who had been overlooked in her previous roles. Together, they began to build the foundation of Elevate Marketing Solutions. Maya's leadership style was collaborative and empathetic, fostering an environment where everyone felt valued. For the first time, Maya felt like she was creating something truly meaningful. The early days of Elevate Marketing Solutions were far from glamorous. Maya and her small team worked long hours, often juggling multiple roles to keep the business afloat. There were days when the challenges seemed insurmountable: delayed payments from clients, unexpected expenses, and the constant pressure to prove themselves in a competitive industry. Adding to their struggles was the shadow of Maya's former boss, Richard Graham. Word of Maya's new company had reached him, and he wasn't pleased. Richard saw Elevate Marketing Solutions as a threat, not because of its size, but because of its potential. Richard began spreading rumors within the industry, claiming that Maya had been fired for incompetence. He warned potential clients that her company was unstable and unreliable. Maya learned of his attempts to sabotage her from a former colleague who had overheard a conversation at Silver Edge Solutions. Rather than letting Richard's actions discourage her, Maya used them as fuel. She doubled down on her efforts, focusing on building a reputation for integrity and excellence. Her team worked tirelessly to deliver exceptional results for their clients, earning glowing testimonials and word-of-mouth referrals. One of the defining moments came when Elevate Marketing Solutions secured its first major client, a sustainable fashion brand looking for an innovative marketing campaign. The project was a resounding success, not just for the client, but also for Maya's team, who proved they could compete with larger firms. As Elevate Marketing Solutions grew, Maya remained committed to her core values. She implemented policies that prioritized work-life balance, professional development, and equity. Her office became a space where people from all backgrounds felt empowered to contribute their best ideas. Maya also started mentoring young professionals, particularly women and minorities, sharing her experiences and encouraging them to pursue their goals despite the obstacles. Her story began to attract attention, with local media outlets highlighting her journey from being fired to building a successful company. By this point, Elevate Marketing Solutions was no longer just a fledgling business. It was a rising star in the marketing industry. And as Maya's success grew, so did the tension with her former boss, setting the stage for a climactic confrontation. It wasn't long before Elevate Marketing Solutions got its first big break. After months of cold calls, networking events, and small-scale projects, Maya received an email from Evergreen EcoWear, a sustainable fashion brand known for its commitment to ethical production and innovative designs. They were looking for a fresh marketing approach to rebrand their image, and Maya's pitch had caught their attention. Maya couldn't believe it. This was her chance to prove that Elevate Marketing Solutions could compete with the big players. Over the next few weeks, she and her team threw themselves into the project. Late nights became the norm, with the office buzzing with ideas and collaboration. Jordan, the graphic designer, created stunning visuals that aligned with Evergreen's eco-conscious branding. Amara, the digital marketing expert, crafted a social media campaign that felt personal and authentic. And Maya, drawing from her years of experience, shaped a strategy that tied everything together into a cohesive narrative. When the campaign launched, the response was overwhelming. Evergreen EcoWear saw a 40% increase in online engagement and a significant uptick in sales. Industry blogs and fashion influencers praised the campaign's creativity and impact. The success of the project marked a turning point for Elevate Marketing Solutions. Clients who had once overlooked Maya's firm began to take notice. Inquiries started pouring in, and the team quickly found themselves juggling multiple projects. As the company grew, Maya remained dedicated to the values that had driven her to start Elevate in the first place. She held regular team meetings to ensure everyone felt heard and valued, encouraging a culture of collaboration and mutual respect. One of her proudest moments came during a quarterly review meeting. Amara, the single mother she had hired early on, shared how working at Elevate had transformed her life. "For the first time, I feel like I'm part of something meaningful," Amara said, her voice filled with emotion. "You've given me the confidence to dream bigger." Hearing those words reminded Maya why she had started this journey. Elevate wasn't just a marketing firm. It was a place where people could thrive, no matter their background or circumstances. With the company's growing reputation, Maya began hiring more talent. She brought in Devin, a data analyst with a knack for uncovering hidden trends, and Rashida, a PR specialist who could spin even the dullest news into a compelling story. The diversity of her team became one of Elevate's greatest strengths, as their varied perspectives led to innovative solutions for clients. Elevate Marketing. Solutions Rise didn't go unnoticed. A local business magazine featured Maya on the cover of its Women to Watch issue, calling her a rising star in the marketing world. The article highlighted not only her professional achievements, but also her commitment to diversity and social impact. The media attention brought a wave of new opportunities. Maya was invited to speak at conferences and panel discussions, sharing her story and advocating for a more inclusive corporate culture. At one such event, she recounted her journey from being fired to becoming a CEO, leaving the audience visibly moved. "It wasn't just about proving them wrong," Maya told the audience. "It was about proving to myself that I could build something better, something that made a real difference." Her story resonated with many, especially those who had faced similar struggles in their careers. Emails and messages poured in from young professionals seeking advice, and Maya made it a point to respond to as many as she could. She even started a mentorship program within her company, pairing experienced employees with interns from underrepresented communities. Maya's journey became a beacon of hope for others who felt marginalized or underestimated. Social media was flooded with posts praising her perseverance and leadership. One viral tweet read, "Fired by a racist boss, she didn't just bounce back. She soared. Maya Thompson is living proof that resilience can shatter ceilings." With the company's continued growth, Elevate Marketing Solutions began to take on high-profile clients from various industries, including tech startups, nonprofits, and even entertainment companies. Each project further solidified their reputation as a firm that delivered results with integrity and creativity. Maya's old boss, Richard Graham, was not blind to her success. Reports of Elevate's achievements frequently appeared in industry news, and more than once, Silver Edge Solutions had lost a potential client to Maya's firm. While Richard refused to admit it publicly, he couldn't deny that Maya had become a force to be reckoned with. By the third year, Elevate had grown from a small team operating out of a modest office to a mid-sized firm with clients across the country. Maya made strategic decisions to expand the company's services, adding market research, influencer collaborations, and AI-driven analytics to their offerings. The firm's rapid growth earned them a nomination for the Innovative Marketing Agency of the Year award, a prestigious accolade in the industry. Though they didn't win, the nomination itself was a testament to how far they had come. Through it all, Maya remained grounded. She frequently reminded her team of their shared mission, to create campaigns that not only drove business results, but also told stories that mattered. "Our work has to mean something," she would say during strategy meetings. "It's not just about selling, it's about connecting." As Elevate continued to thrive, Maya began to reflect on her journey. Her success wasn't just measured by revenue or awards, it was evident in the lives she had touched. Employees who once struggled to find their footing now walked with confidence. Clients who had taken a chance on a small underdog firm now sang their praises at industry events. Maya's mother, who had always been her biggest supporter, attended the company's annual gala that year. Watching her daughter address a room full of employees and clients, she couldn't help but feel proud. "I told you," she whispered to Maya afterward, her eyes glistening. "They couldn't dim your light." The stage was set for Maya's ultimate triumph, a confrontation with the man who had doubted her abilities and tried to hold her back. But this time, Maya was no longer the underdog. She was a leader, a trailblazer, and a symbol of what true resilience could achieve. 2 years after her firing, Maya found herself at one of the most prestigious industry events of the year, the annual Marketing Excellence Gala. The event was buzzing with CEOs, clients, and executives, all gathered to celebrate the best in the business. Maya's company had been nominated for the Innovator of the Year award, a category reserved for firms that demonstrated groundbreaking strategies. She attended with her team, a mixture of excitement and nerves in the air as she mingled with attendees. Maya spotted a familiar figure across the room, Richard Graham, her former boss. He was deep in conversation with a group of executives, but froze when he noticed Maya. For a moment, their eyes met. The disbelief on his face was palpable. Richard, unable to resist his curiosity, approached her. "Maya," he said, forcing a smile, "I didn't expect to see you here." Maya turned, calm and composed. "Richard," she replied, her voice steady, "it's been a while." Richard struggled to mask his surprise. "I heard about Elevate. I have to admit, I didn't think you'd pull it off." Maya met his gaze, unflinching. "I'm sure you didn't," she said. "But that's the thing about underestimating people. It often comes back to surprise you." The conversation drew the attention of nearby attendees who recognized Maya and began whispering among themselves. Richard's discomfort grew as he realized the spotlight was no longer on him. "I'm glad to see you're doing well," he said, his tone defensive. "I suppose everything worked out in the end." Maya smiled faintly. "It did, but not because of you. You didn't just doubt me, Richard. You went out of your way to tear me down, spreading lies, sabotaging opportunities. Did you think I wouldn't find out?" Richard's face turned red. "That's not—" Maya held up a hand, cutting him off. "It doesn't matter now. I've built something that stands for everything your company doesn't. Fairness, integrity, and valuing people for who they are. You tried to bury me, but all you did was plant a seed." Richard was silent, his usual arrogance replaced by visible embarrassment. Before he could respond, the host of the gala called for attention. It was time to announce the award winners. The Innovator of the Year award was announced, and the winner was none other than Elevate Marketing Solutions. Maya's team erupted in applause as she walked to the stage to accept the award. Standing at the podium, Maya took a moment to look out at the audience. She saw her team beaming with pride, clients nodding in approval, and Richard sitting stiffly at his table. "This award isn't just for me," she began. "It's for my incredible team, and for everyone who's ever been told they don't belong. Elevate Marketing Solutions is proof that we all have value, and when we support one another, there's no limit to what we can achieve." The room erupted in applause as Maya stepped down, her heart swelling with pride. She had faced her past, risen above it, and emerged stronger than ever. 2 years after the gala, Elevate Marketing Solutions had grown from a small startup to one of the most respected marketing firms in the industry. With offices in 3 major cities and a portfolio of high-profile clients, the company was a beacon of innovation and integrity. Maya had become a sought-after leader, not just for her business acumen, but for her ability to inspire and uplift others. Her firm was known for delivering campaigns that went beyond numbers. They told stories, built connections, and made meaningful impacts. Elevate had earned accolades, including multiple awards for creativity and diversity initiatives. But Maya's success wasn't just about the accolades. It was about the culture she had built. Her employees felt valued, supported, and empowered. Turnover was low, and morale was high, a testament to the environment Maya had fostered. Her story was frequently featured in magazines and on business panels, and she became a symbol of resilience and perseverance. But for Maya, the greatest reward was seeing her team thrive and knowing that she had created a space where everyone, regardless of background, could shine. Maya didn't stop at running a successful company. She used her platform to advocate for diversity, inclusion, and equity in the workplace. She launched mentorship programs for women and minorities entering the marketing field, offering them the guidance she wished she'd had at the start of her career. She also partnered with nonprofits to provide training and resources to underrepresented groups, helping them break into industries where they were often overlooked. Maya's initiatives weren't just about charity. They were about empowerment and systemic change. Her advocacy extended to public speaking. At conferences and events, she shared her journey candidly, highlighting the challenges of facing discrimination and the importance of creating spaces where everyone has a voice. She didn't shy away from discussing her past experiences, using them as a reminder of why change was necessary. One of her most impactful projects was a scholarship fund named after her late father, who had always believed in her potential. The fund supported students from marginalized communities who aspired to careers in marketing and business. One sunny afternoon, Maya stood on the stage of a packed auditorium, addressing a crowd of young entrepreneurs at a leadership summit. The energy in the room was electric, filled with people eager to learn from her journey. "People often ask me how I overcame the challenges I faced," Maya began, her voice steady yet warm. "The truth is, I didn't do it alone. I leaned on the support of those who believed in me, even when I doubted myself. But most importantly, I decided not to let anyone else define my worth." She paused, scanning the faces in the audience. Life will throw obstacles your way, doubts, discrimination, even failure. But remember this: every setback is an opportunity to grow. You have the power to turn pain into purpose, to build something beautiful from the ashes of what others tried to destroy. The room was silent, hanging on her every word. "And one more thing," she continued, a small smile forming. "When you find success, don't forget to reach back and help others. Real success isn't just about climbing to the top. It's about lifting others as you rise. Together we can create a world where everyone has a chance to thrive." The audience erupted into applause, a standing ovation that brought tears to Maya's eyes. As she stepped off the stage, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She wasn't just a CEO or a survivor. She was a change maker, someone who had turned her struggles into a force for good. That night, as she walked into her office, Maya paused to look at the wall where her team had hung a framed poster. It was one of her favorite quotes, the same one that had reignited her hope years ago. "They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds." Maya smiled, her heart full. Her journey wasn't just about proving her worth, it was about planting seeds of change that would continue to grow for generations.